BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Pretty Mike with BeastNet, and on this episode I've got with me my team from the SISU 24-hour Pacific Northwest 24-hour event, Team BeastNet, which took third. Woo! Chris and Ted, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Man.
Still trying to recover. My legs are unhappy with me still.
I showed up at CrossFit because Monday I drove home, and that was an interesting drive, trying to stay awake even though I slept good the night before. And had a couple sources of bad news coming from around and everything, and trying to deal with staying awake. And a 12-hour drive turned into 16 because I kept having to stop and sleep.
Yeah, sometimes you have to. Your body tells you.
Yeah, so I went into the gym because they did do a final weigh-in for a 6-week nutritional challenge we had. And after weighing in, I just looked out at the floor and the weights, I said, screw this, and went home, went back to bed.
Yeah, I'm still trying to keep the 5K a day alive. So I've done that. That's about all I've done all week, but it's been like, it hasn't been a fast. It's pretty much like walk a 5K because my legs are just like, yeah, screw you. But they have not been happy. And it's been interesting too, because for work, I've been having to drive almost 5 hours every day.
Yeah.
All week. So sitting in the car for that long, and then I get out and I'm like, oh God. But and when I teach, I pace. So I was teaching for 8 hours and pacing. So I end up with a whole bunch of steps, but trying to keep the blood flow to the legs going. So we should probably tell the listeners a little bit. Some of them probably heard before what the SISU event is, but because we talked about it last year after we got third last year, and then got it again this year. So, which I'm so excited about that we did it 2 years in a row.
Yes. Me too.
Tell us a little bit about it. What is SISU? I mean, So what was it for you, Chris? Let's start with you. What was it? What is SISU for you?
SISU is one race that is like no other. You can choose to do any kind of race you want. You run, walk, hike. It's a race with you and your team, or you individually. Depends on what kind of race you would like to have. It's not just a race of miles. It's a race about points. It's a race about trivia. It's a race about having fun. They have different trails. I think they have 6 or 7 different trails that you get to choose from. And once you get to the end of the trail, there is a task that you have to do, and then come back down and check in. And that is probably the most exciting part about it all. Plus, the views are amazing. I'm just in awe every year I do this, at the views of Washington, and the hidden forest and what is up there is amazing. And really it just is, when you're tired, you can take a break whenever you want. It is family, friendly. So your family comes out, your kids, everybody comes out, they eat, they have fun. It's one of the best races I've ever done in my life, I think.
I agree. So what do you think, Ted? What is it to you?
Yeah, I was overwhelmed. It was so incredible. I can't remember when the very first year was, but I wanted to go. And what was it, 2019, I think it was?
I think so, because this was the third year. So yeah, it would have been 2018.
I just had too much going on, and the ex-girlfriend had to work and everything else, and trying to get my house in Boise put up on the market. And say, it'll be there next year. But that's what I said about all races. Nobody expected COVID to shut everything down.
Yeah.
And last year I was, a lot of you know that I've got a massive amount of hardware installed in my spine and my neck now. I was in between surgeries last year, so I wanted to at least volunteer, but that didn't work out because they don't allow dogs, and I had no dog sitter. So
yeah,
Michael Goodfried, if you're listening, Michael, thank you so much. He saw a message, a post I put on the Beast OCR page and sent me a note, said, hey, I got a team slot here. The whole team's yours, free. Just go for it. I'm like, wow. Couldn't find anybody to go up. I'm in Utah now.
Yep.
And I heard you guys were missing Brian. So I don't just put me right in there.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Which was amazing, by the way. Thank you for stepping in. So, I mean, it was, I'll be honest, I had a backup plan if it would have been like 2 days earlier, but because Ryan, you know, up until that point, we thought he was good. And then, you know, he ended up injuring himself Friday morning. Cause I had Brian Kays on the backup because, Ryan had a couple other injuries earlier in the year. And I was like, okay, just in case. And Brian was going to be up there volunteering. But then since he wasn't going to race with us because Ryan was good, he decided to go do something with his wife, which I completely get. It was a nice, beautiful weekend. So we thought it was just going to be me and Chris. And I didn't even know Ted had joined the team until I got there Saturday morning, like right as they were getting ready to start. And they're like, oh yeah, you have you know, Ted's part of your team now. And I'm like, okay. Cool.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right when it happens.
that's what happened. Ted said, hey, do you need another person? And I said, yes, we need another person. Because I was sicker than sick.
You know, I've tested out that knee brace I was wearing too, because like Monterey Super and Sprint just a few weeks before, I had to hurry and do my races and blow out and run as hard as I could because my granddaughter was racing. I needed to see her races. And having a lot of mobility problems after being couch bound for 8 months in between my neck surgeries, and I'm still 30 pounds overweight. You know, I put on almost 50 pounds last year. So long story short, I have been trashing my right leg and taking yoga to open up my hip, but it's temporary fix. And even running WODs at CrossFit, I have to back out because I can't do. And I've been testing out knee braces, and I hit pay dirt with that knee brace I was wearing. It was the first time I was wearing it, and
That's good.
perfect, no problem whatsoever. It was the rest of my body that hurt like hell.
Yeah, we all had that. It's kind of one of those things. I think it's one of those things. I was not in the shape I was last year. Chris was sick. But I think what saved us was the fact that we had the experience from last year. So
That's right.
me and Chris went in with a full plan of exactly like we're gonna hit these trails, do this, and get these points. Because we wanted that, you know, we wanted to get up there in the third, but I was hoping to get up into second. But like when I went out to do that last one, because I hit about 35 miles, and my body was not happy with me. And it was about that time when I went out at like 2 a.m, where all of a sudden it's like I got about a mile out into that the final one that I was going to do, and my body just shut down, like cramps, whole body was cramping, stomach cramping so bad that I was like, you know, doubled over. And I'm just like, nope, I'm done. This is it. This is my body. I've gotten to that age where I've learned to listen to my body, where my body's just like, no, you're done. We're stopping here. And I'm like, yep, yes, I am. I'm walking back to camp now.
Yeah, I think that's like the best thing about this race is that you choose your own race, and you choose to take care of your body. Also, at some point, you make that choice of you can only go this far, and that's what your race is that time. You know what I mean? That's the best thing about the choose your own race, is that you do what you can, you do what you cannot, and you know that I think that's what I love about it, is that at any time you could either go all the way or you can, you know, but the ultimate goal is, you know, most people try and get 100 miles.
No one's ever done it.
To be done though. Nobody has done that yet on this race.
92 this year. There's a gentleman that hit 92.
92, getting close.
Getting close.
I'm telling you, yeah, these aren't like just regular miles either. These are elevation high miles with.
Because I know when I figured out how many, according to my Strava, I hit 35 miles, like almost on the nuts, like 35, and almost exactly 4,000 feet of elevation.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, Snoqualmie Pass is only 3,200 feet.
Right.
So that's like basically walking from, you know, straight up Snoqualmie Pass.
Yeah.
You know, So, I mean, it's a lot of elevation. And I mean, it's a matter of strategy too, of finding.
It is.
Because we weren't, I think the team I think we still had more miles than everyone behind us. But last year, I know when we took third last year, the team behind us had more miles than we did, but we had more points,
Yes.
And that's it. Like all three of us went, straight up Snoquera, which nobody else wanted to do because you don't want to hit the waterfall that early in the morning.
Which is amazing.
But we're like, forget it. We're going for it. So we all got, the extra points for being the first ones up there and everything else. And I mean, the videos, if you haven't seen the videos, all three of them are together on Facebook. And
Oh, are they?
yeah, I put them, I put yours up with mine and Chris. So they're all three together. So we got the team videos of us in the waterfall, but I mean, that was chilly. But I mean, it's coming up with those strategies, and that's going to be a thing. I think next year, I want to make sure we come up with strategies, figure out what we're going to do, and all that. I mean, it's an event I want to do. Even it's one of those things that, because most people know that, Amber wants to move out of state. She wants to leave. But this would be an event I would come back for. I would come back for the event every time.
Good. I'm in Utah now. Borders mean nothing.
No, and that's it. And I had Tony on before this, like earlier this year before the race. And I told him, I said, if anybody asked me if I could pick one race that I could only do one this year, and that's it. I'm like,
that's right.
It would be SISU every time.
It would be every time. I plan on doing this race till I can no longer walk at all. I mean, this is the race that I will do until I cannot walk. I mean, yeah.
It's the atmosphere too. I mean, it's not just, you come back from camp, people are clamping for you. Everybody's a family.
It is. It's such a nice, not overblown event. It's nice. The people, Tony, they have like this way of making it really wholesome and just very, entwined family. It's very, and I think that's what other runners that are new this year, they didn't expect that small little quaint, how everyone just kind of gets along and roots for each other no matter what. It's very awesome.
It is. I mean, there's some competition. There's a couple of the teams, that there's a little bit of competition for a couple of the teams.
A couple competitions going on.
There's some personal competitions there. I really wanted to whoop Tessa this year, but she decided not to show up because she knew we were going to kill her. But but then there's a couple others. I mean, and it's friendly rivalries. It's not like we're going to get mad at each other or anything, but it's those friendly rivalries or that we want to beat each other. So it was really fun. And I mean, that's one of my favorite things. I mean, and like I said, but the group, it's, Tony and Aaron put on an amazing event. I love both of them. Aaron cracks me up because she remembers I'm the only one from last year that actually apologized to her, because when we all went up Mutton, I did not have anything but my 2 liters of water. And they didn't have Mutton this year because it almost killed most of us last year. And I ran out of water. I came back like borderline heat stroke. And I came back and literally looked at her and said, you told me that I should have had a water filter and had it with me. And I did not. So I want to apologize to you for not listening.
And that's the thing is that, it is one of those events that you need to prepare for. You cannot just jump in. You have to really hydrate yourself. You have to, and I think one of the best things I enjoy about it is that in the middle of a race, you have the option to take a break and get points to do community service for the forest out there. And in the middle of a race, me and Mike, and Ted, did you chop wood too?
I did.
Yeah, you're going out there to chop wood. You're in a running race and you're going out there to chop wood.
Here was the best part about me doing the chopping wood is I hit it on the tail ends. I didn't do it earlier because I wanted to get off my feet for a little bit so I can run into the night. When I get over there, the only thing left to do was just sit in a chair and split kindling into little pencil width. So I got off my feet again and just sat there trying not to hack my finger off, and do splitting kindling for a half an hour and done deal.
It's just that amazing piece of this race of where you're like, you know what? I got to take an hour and I got to go do my community service. And you have no idea what you're walking into. And me and Mike walk around the corner and we're like, grab an axe. And we're like, oh, I guess we're going to chop some wood, you know, and here we are sweating, chopping wood up.
Which was amazing. I haven't chopped wood in years. But then what was so funny too is after we finished, we would go on our next route and we go out there and we see all these people out there grabbing wood and bringing it back. And we're like, what are you all doing? And the guy looks at us and goes, you two chopped all the wood. They had to go get more.
Yeah, that was kind of fun for me. I grew up in a wood heated home. So,
so did
that
I.
was old hat.
Yeah. It was a great, I love that the fact that they involved community service in the middle of a race. It's just like, you know,
it's all about, you know, it's one of those things like we all learned, you know, as kids. I mean, for me, it was one of those, you go camping, you go out in the woods, when you come back, you leave that trail and you leave those woods better than when you got there. So if you see garbage, you pick it up.
Right.
You know, all that. And that's one of the big things that Tony and Aaron really push is to make sure that when we leave Camp Shepherd, you know, up there, it's better than it was when we got there. And
That's
that
right.
was even the guy who runs it. He said that's one of the reasons they love having us there, because we're the one group that when we leave, it's actually cleaner and better than when we got there.
Yes. Yeah. And it, you know, definitely helps with like the forest fires and preventing everything in the summertime. And that's pretty much, you know, we chopped the wood for the Boy Scouts, so they had wood in other campers up there. That's what the wood is for. But yeah, I mean, that's just an unbelievable part of it. It's, you know, makes it, that's what makes it all so interesting. What are we doing this year? Okay.
Yeah, because last year,
I think last year we raked the forest.
Yep, we raked the forest and cleaned up, you know, all the downed wood. So
yeah, I found that hilarious. What are we doing? Raking the forest.
but you know, it's clean. It was one of those things. I get it. We were cleaning up all the, you know, the rotten wood so that if a fire went through there, it didn't have as much fuel. So
yeah,
you know, which was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and it's just a lot of that stuff. And that's why I love this event. And like I said, I mean, and the views, I am mad at myself that I didn't get to look out, because the other one things I wanted to go up to look out for was because well, part of it was because one of the reasons I left at 2 a.m. to go up to lookout was I was hoping I could time it right and be at lookout when the sun came up.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's their goal next year, right? Have a great view when the sun goes down and a great view when the sun comes up.
Yep.
That's the goal right there. I think this year was more, you know, a lot more animals this year around camp.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Ted had
The little fucker get into my stuff.
Ted had a bear encounter. So Yogi the bear decided to come see Ted.
Yeah, man, I stuck my head out of my tent and he was looking at me from less than 10 feet away like a dog that just got busted. He just froze with my hammock in his mouth like a dog toy. And he even tilted his head like a dog, like this. And so I yell at him and he drops it and just walks away slowly, looks over his shoulder like a dog saying, yeah, you can clean up the shit behind me. And yeah, I noticed my bag of energy drinks down in the woods. He climbs the tree right above it. We have a stair down. He comes down again. I yell at him again. He does the same thing. He just walks off looking at me over his shoulder. Okay, I'll go retrieve my popped cans.
Yeah, it's just what the bear needs, energy drinks.
That's right. Yeah, he was a little pester around camp. All you heard was a bunch of banging going on because he was trying to get food from places everywhere. Yeah. I think the strangest thing to me is the ravens and how the birds yell at you in the woods.
Yes.
Never in my life would I ever think I'd be yelled at so much in the woods.
They're on sentry duty.
Yeah.
They are. And the nice thing too is finding the different trails. Like, you know, the waterfalls were amazing. I mean, I put on, even on my TikTok, I never really use it, but I put the videos of because I took videos of the waterfalls and just the sound. And I'm like, I could sit here and just lay here next to these and freaking all day and relax. And that's why I took the videos. I just wanted the sound. I could just put that on loop and listen to it. You know? And
yeah, like that one that went up Deep Creek that would look like an endless pool, the way it came off the
Oh,
wood, and it
yeah.
just looked like an endless
And
swimming
see,
pool.
Did you get back up to that during the day, Ted?
No, I did not. I hit it at night right before I saw you up there. And I was just thinking, I tried to spot it with my phone to light it up a little bit for a picture, but the picture didn't come out good. You know, first thing I thought to myself is, I wish I could see this ginormous, powerful fall in the daytime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
was
that's the great thing about it being 24 hours, that at night you have absolutely no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
Or if there's anything around you.
You know what? They did a fantastic job of marking those trails, and that added little touch of the little reflective tape on the clothespin on the branch. I mean, those chunks of reflective tape weren't even 3/4 of an inch long, but you could see it from 100 yards, 200 yards away if your headlamp hit it right, you know?
Yeah, we didn't have that last year.
No, that was new to this year, so it was kind of cool to see that, because the first time I saw one, I was like, "What the hell is that?" I thought it was eyes up ahead because it was like two right next to each other, and I'm like, "Is there a creature up there? Am I about to get freaking mauled by the bear? Is this where he went?"
It's a one-eyed bear.
Well, no, like I said, there was two next to him, so it looked like it was eyes, like two sets of eyes. And then all of a sudden, I got closer, and I'm like, "Oh, they put after reflective on these things, right on," you know. And I'm like, "That's so cool," because there was a couple times where I'm like, "Did I lose the trail?" Because my headlamp sucked. I was so mad at myself. I had that headlamp last year, and I hated it, so I bought a new one. It's a really nice one. It's a nice Craftsman one. And then I didn't realize when I packed my bag, the one I threw in the bag was the Eddie Bauer one that I hate. So then I get out there and I'm like, this lamp sucks. And then I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's because the one from last year that I hated. So I actually had to take out, I have those like the glow sticks, but they're the battery powered glow sticks.
Those
There's flashlights on them. So I turned the flashlight on that, and so I was walking with that in my hand.
Yeah.
So I could see, but it was just like, oh, but yeah, even that little bit of light I was getting off my headlamp, I could see those, you know, those retroflective tapes, and like, oh, hey, that's the right way. Because when you're roaming around there at night, it's like I turned off my light at one point, and I'm like, it's pitch black.
Yes. It's scary. I did that last year, turned everything off, and I was like, oh, turn it back on. Something's gonna eat me.
I went for as long as I could up Deep Creek with no light on to get my eyes to adjust. I made it quite a ways up there before I decided to turn it on again. But I like how a few people like Marion and a couple other people had the rig around their waist
Yes,
instead of the headlamp.
that was awesome.
You know, I'm still recovering from these surgeries, and I don't know if you can notice here how skinny my pencil neck is. I mean, it used to be like this, and constantly looking down, making sure I'm not tripping over roots and stuff with that headlamp bopping up and down. It made a huge difference, and I'm surprised I didn't do that already, because I was at the 24-hour Ultra World Championships at Telluride, and I saw a whole ton of different lighting combinations, and I was taking note, and I don't know why I didn't think of all those combinations, but
I had some really good lights that I planned on using, but yeah, once I
worked really well.
Once I was, what'd you say?
I used them. They worked really well.
Yeah, once I hit that last trail, and I couldn't breathe anymore. Mike was like, I don't think you can go anymore. And I said, I can't breathe anymore. I think I'm done.
Well, that was it. Because I told Chris, I'm like, you know me, I'm going to push you until I think it's unsafe. And at this point, I mean, with your breathing, I'm like, yeah, I think you're done. I mean, I'll put, if you want to keep going, I'll go with you and I'll help you, but I'm not going to push you because I don't think it's safe at this point to push you.
Yeah. I was just like, you know, I have another year. So
I did use those lights. I just hooked them onto I wore my hoodie the last one. I didn't get far with them, but they would have been great. And I put them in the pockets of my hoodie, just clipped on. And the only problem you had is as I walked, they'd bounce. But other than that, they were actually really good. But
yeah,
nice light. I do like the ones, like you said, those rigs with the 4, Ted, that the 4 on the front. I saw 2 or 3 people with that coming back from Deep Creek. And I'm like, oh
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because they point straight down. Like Ted said, that was my problem, is keeping my head down so I could look at my feet.
Yeah.
because I kept tripping over stuff. Because when I came back after the last one the one that I finished, I was almost positive I'd broken the 2 middle toes on both my feet, because I just kept, every time I kept kicking roots and rocks, and I'm like, ugh! And I'm like, thank God that I didn't wear my ultras. I was wearing my Brooks, my normal running shoes, because they come out a little bit farther. So there's a little bit of padding for my toes. And honestly, I remember last year, that's why I did it. Because I
Yeah,
knew.
Ted, didn't you biff it on a root or something?
Yes, I went down hard.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to be extra careful because all 10 of my toes were killing me mostly from rocks, not so much from roots, but from rocks. And I hit up what seemed to be a flat, and I tried to pour on a little speed again. I hit a nice stride, and it was just one solitary little root in the whole clearing. And I hit it just right. And I was airborne for about a second, I think. But look at me, I can fly. Like that guy that landed that jetliner on the Potomac years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want the race to get bigger and make more money, because they are incredible people that put on this race. But also, I want it to stay small.
And that's one thing I do like. I like how small it is, because you're not crowded. And that's one of the things I'd be worried about if it got too big. Going back and forth on those trails, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of like people getting in our, getting in our way or anything.
Yeah.
Some of those trails are single track, and it's kind of hard to pass on some of the spots. You had the problem at Deep Creek where over the weekend a tree fell.
That's right.
It was across the track. Because we went through in the morning. We were one of the first ones to go out to the Deep Creek, because the challenge wasn't until like between 2 and 6. So no one wanted to go out early. So we went out early and there was no tree. And then when we came back out later, around 5.
That tree fell in the evening?
Yeah, it fell right. These people passed, and then right when they passed, it fell and they took off running.
Yeah, because I thought I was lost, because I came across that tree completely blocking everything. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to be on the wrong path here, because they wouldn't have left a tree like this. They would have cut it away. Well, I crawled through the branches anyway, and got right around the bend and seen a piece of reflector tape. Like, wow, that must have just went down.
Yeah, I went down there, I think like 3 or 4 o'clock, and during the day it went down.
Yeah, right before we got up there, I think there was somebody coming down. They were like, the tree fell on the course, and then that was
yeah, so it fell between, when we went up in the morning it wasn't there, and then when we came back our second time through it was. So I did Deep Creek 3 times.
Yeah.
And then because I kind of figured out, because that's one of the things I wanted to find, because we were going to do one of the smaller, shorter ones over and over again. But then we found Deep Creek was the flattest, even though I think Deep Creek's almost like 800 or 900 feet elevation gain.
It's like 8 miles too. It's not.
It's like but it's still the flattest and easiest one to just kind of go. We could do that in almost, we were hitting between 2 and 3/4 to 3 hours. So right in that window.
We went up to Dalles, and that was a shorter one, but because it was so steep, I couldn't breathe on that one. So I just was like, we cannot do this again, because I cannot breathe on this one. So we'll just stick with the other one.
Well, I saw the word lookout, and I knew I had to hit it in the daytime, because if it says lookout, there's got to be a good photo opportunity at the top. And I was looking at the elevation game and the fact that it was just under 12 miles, but somebody had just come down and said it's all switchbacks, no big deal. You can almost run it. I was fine when I got to the top. I got some great pictures too.
I think me and Mike have only done lookout at night.
Yeah.
And they actually had on top of that rock, hanging on a branch is where the stamp was. So we had to climb the rock to get to the stamp.
Oh, not the case this time. It was before the rock, but I climbed over the rock anyway, so I get the best picture. My legs were shaking, like, I shouldn't have ran. I should have walked up that hill.
And see, I've only done it during the event at night, but I have been up there during the day, because I went back last year. I went back the next week, and help pull down. And I went up to the longest one that we didn't get to do this year, the Noble Knob, because it was still under snow. So, and lookouts on the way to Noble Knob. So as you're going up to Noble Knob, you just kind of step off like where lookout kind of comes off the trail. Noble Knob, you just keep going up.
Right.
So, I mean, lookout's like 100 feet off of the trail.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yes, I remember a fork in the road there.
Somebody had mentioned that in 2019, they did the race and they went up to the falls, and the falls was actually just a trickle at that point. And then they went back up this time and they were like, oh my God, they couldn't believe how much the falls has grown and how fast it was rolling.
There's been late snow everywhere, even here in Utah. I mean, it's 90 degrees today, but we had snow here just 2.5 weeks ago. Not here at, well, I'm at 5,000 feet now, not right here at 5,000 feet, but right behind me, 8,000, 9,000 feet more snow.
Yeah, and like I said, Noble Knob is gorgeous. If you get up to Noble Knob, you're standing up on top of the mountain and looking down at like 2 to 3 of the valleys.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous, and there's a couple of lakes down there. But from what they said, that there's still snow up there, like 2 or 3 feet. So that's why I have, but I like the poles. I never thought I'd like walking with the poles, but I do.
Yeah, the poles actually help a lot with your legs and stuff.
Yeah. And then I have spikes. So if we had gone up to Noble Knob and we needed the spikes, I have the mini spikes.
Yeah.
I had mine in the car. I'll probably try poles next year too. I've been putting it off, but I'll be testing out my little excursion with More Heart Than Scars in September. So,
oh yeah, Kilimanjaro. That'll be a fun one. It's just a small hill.
Yeah, just a molehill. Little ants crawling out the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I
didn't really notice that either. I noticed that there's a family there every year that wait for their I don't know, family member that does the running, and they were sitting out there, and they had some binoculars, and I was like, what are you guys looking at? What do you see? And they're like, that's the falls that you just walked, and I was like, oh my gosh, we were
from the camp high. From the camping area.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see where if you look up from where we were all camping. Well, you were off in the RV section, but like where my tent was, and Jeannie's and Kim Collins and everybody. If you look up, you can see the ridge where we all scooted by. I was actually up there howling like a wolf to see if anybody would hear me, but everybody was kind of gone anyway.
I think that's when it hit me. I was like, I can't believe we just climbed that high. And that's when I was like, wow. And that, makes you feel good. I mean, because, you're working hard, but you don't see how high you are until you're just like, wow.
Yeah. I've got a good picture from that point when you're looking down at the camp.
Yes.
You see him. So, but you don't think
you got a really good picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's such a great event. I mean, it's one of those events, like I said, if you had to pick one event every year, this would be the one. I mean, I love Spartan. I love, all the other ones, but this one, the family atmosphere, the whole reason we all started doing this and why we love this is the family and seeing everyone. And especially this one, especially this year, it was like a family homecoming.
Yes.
Tony, Ted was there, Kim was there, Jeannie and Roxy and Christina Lynn. I haven't seen Christina Lynn in like it was just like a big family get together. It was amazing. So
yes.
And then I did yoga at midnight. So I mean, you do all sorts of the yoga. The only bad part about the yoga, I really shouldn't have timed the Deep Creek getting back when I did, because as I was coming back from Deep Creek, because that time of night, like you get really sweaty. So I was soaked. My whole
and then add the lactic acid coming out of your muscle.
That's right.
You're doing the moves, the form and everything too. So you got lactic acid and sweat just pouring out of you.
But the stars are beautiful. The sky is like nothing else. And
so I think it was Christina Lynn even pointed out, like after we finished yoga, she's like, I could hear you shivering next to me. And I'm like, so cool. But I wanted those damn points. Oh.
Yeah, I bailed on the yoga in favor of a hot shower instead, because I was like, somebody said, "Oh my gosh, look at you." I'm all, what? They look at that. And I looked down at the bottom of my Beast OCR jersey, and it was like there was a faucet on because all the sweat had wicked down to the bottom, and it was literally falling off the bottom hem and just dripping.
Yeah, I think that's a good, you have time in a 24-hour race. You walk it, you can run it, you can do whatever you want. You can take time to eat, you can take time to talk, you can take time to shower.
And that's what I did. I did the yoga, and then I'd done Sudoku a little bit before that. And then I did the yoga when I got back, and then I took a shower, and then right after the shower,
Stupid Sudoku.
I solved all three of them. There may have been some cheating, but I solved all three of them. But so as a team, we solved them. And that's it. That's the one thing other too is you do all this as a team. And that's one thing we found last year was we kept thinking that we all had to do it individually, but then all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute. I'm like, I can help Chris and I can help, and last year it was Ryan, and they're like, yeah, it's a team. I'm like, oh, well, shit, here's the answer to the, to the
right.
puzzle. And here's this, because I had figured out the riddles and everything.
Yeah, and here I was stumped with one square left, and the radio that either Chris or Serena gave me, well, it wasn't chirping when you push the button.
Yeah,
because normally it chirps, and then when to talk it wouldn't chirp. So I thought something was wrong with it. I'm like, well, man, I need to call them over here, but thing's not working. Just my luck.
Yeah. And I have to say, every year we can't go without Serena and her organization, her food, her getting us all ready, getting us everything we need, helping us. I'm so thankful that we have, our person to get our shit together.
She's my race wife. I mean, Chris and Serena are my race wives anyway, but when Serena's there, she's the team wife. I mean,
yes.
So you didn't come over to camp as much as we did. And see, like last year, it was this way with Ryan, because all of us were right in the camp because none of us had a tent out. We were all in the camp. And every time we come in, Serena's handing us water. She's handing us food. She's, making us eat. She's getting while we're like changing shoes, she's getting us everything all set back up. And like we're leaving, she's making sure we're fueled, that we're hydrated.
If we need moleskin, if we need different anything or what, if we look like crap, she'll let us know that we look like crap and we need to knock it off.
No, I raised 4 kids by myself, so yeah. Mr. Mom had it going on in this little corner of the campground. I could have fed half that campground. I had so much food, and I had the same thing. I stopped at Cabela's and got some clear tackle box things and all the first aid stuff and moleskins and everything all nicely organized. And they had a nice base camp part 2 over there. So,
well, it's funny because a lot of people don't realize this. When I show up, normally I have everything in a box, and I just open the box and randomly throw shit in there. I'm like, yeah, I think I'll need this. Just throwing stuff in there. And then I go do the first race. And when I come back, it's all nicely organized.
Yeah. That's one funny thing. We came back the first time and she was out trying to find some blankets or something, and we just threw everything everywhere. And when we got back, everything was all nicely organized. We're like, damn, this is nice.
Yeah, she makes it so that really, and it sounds, she's like our pit crew. I mean,
it's awesome.
She is the one that keeps us going. She's also the one that does most of the strategizing. She's like, this is what you need to do. Go do this one next. That's why when Ted was asking what to do next, I'm like, I don't know. Ask Serena.
I'm like, Serena, what should Ted do? And what should we do? And she spends the time when we're doing our run to go strategize who needs to do what, where we need to place what we're going to do, and how many points to get to what. And that's the awesome part right there.
Well, and the awesome part too is when I decided that I was done, in my mind,
Mike, go do another one.
In my mind, it was all of a sudden I hit a point, and like I said, every part of me just cramped. If you ever want to know if a bear shits in the wood, it does. I do anyway, but everything cramped. And it was just one of those damn it. But then I'm thinking in my head, and I remember the last thing Serena basically told me, she's like, I've done the math. Team 4 can't catch us. And I'm like, well, we might be able to catch team 2, but team 4 can't catch us. We're pretty much got third locked in.
That's right.
I'm done. And I don't think if Serena had done the math and told me that, I don't think I would have stopped. I would have kept going and I would have pushed through. And I think if my body had done again what it did right there and started cramping, I don't know if I would have made it back from lookout.
I'm glad we didn't tell team 4 that they weren't going to catch us, because it made them go out again.
They tried. They went for it.
They tried. And I was like, in the morning, whatever.
She is a very, she's very competitive. And I mean, she was up there and I mean, I could see her trying everything. And I'm just looking at Aaron and I'm like, can they really catch us? I mean, do I need to figure it? And she's looking at me going, there's no way. And I'm like, okay.
That was the only reason I was mad I didn't do lookout, because I found out there was a dot to dot up there. I'm like, dang it. I wanted to do the dot to dot.
I have the dot to dot if you want it. I didn't use it because that's the one I was on when my body shut down.
Yeah, that dot to dot was, well, it's two-sided. I thought at first you had to do both sides. Tony said, no, just one side. I brought it back to the table and did it, because there's no way I'm going to connect 450 dots that I would barely see with most powerful readers you can buy
In the dark.
on some jagged ass rocks and a pencil that's super sharp and poke holes and everything. I'm doing this at the table. And
and that was one thing we figured out last year. That's one thing that's nice about doing it 2 years in a row, was we figured out last year where a lot of people thought a lot of these things had to be done before you got back to camp. And that's when we started figuring out, wait, I can do these later. They're like, yeah. So we brought the Sudoku back and just took it back to camp and left it there.
Yeah, because last year there's a full ass poem you had to memorize, but it was the peak. So it was almost the farthest one out this year, and it's a horrible peak up there. And to memorize a poem all the way down was not happening. So I opt to take a picture.
But that's the thing is, I mean, they told us, I mean, it's like, you can turn those in.
Right.
And it's like, oh, so I don't have to do this right now. So I don't have to stop now. I can stop later when my body's tired and needs a break. I'm like, I like this idea. So,
I mean, it's great, because sometimes you need to know what trees are what. And sometimes you need to read on paper on the way up to the trail. Last year, they had paper where you had to read on trees what is what. Yeah. I mean, it's every year it's something different, and it's something really
amazing.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And the knots this year with Aaron. Aaron can tie knots great. Tony, love you, dude. But dude, that you just
dude. When we showed Aaron what Tony was, she's like, I showed him 500 times. He just can't get it. And I'm like, I don't do knots either.
Well, and then Tony said too that the second I walked away, like went to just fine, I'll figure it out when I get out there. That he did it. He's like, I did. The second you walked away, I did it fine. But with you standing there looking at me trying to figure it out, I'm just
right.
Do it. And I'm like, but
knots.
Yeah. The knots. I mean, this year was knots, and then there was the Sudoku. And like I said, every year last year there was a riddle that we had to figure out. And I mean, there's always something new. Yeah. So it's not just, and that's what I love about it. It's not just pick your own adventure. It's also challenges and points. And like I said, you don't have to necessarily go the farthest. You just have to have the most points.
That's right. You actually don't need to go the fastest or the farthest. You just have to be smart and about it.
Because I think the one guy who won an individual was not even close to the longest. The guy that had 92 miles.
Yeah.
His total points put him in like 7th place.
Yeah. Didn't do any challenges. He just kept moving.
Yeah. But I mean, 92 miles. Damn, it's like, damn, that's close.
That's very close.
But I think what it is you get 24 hours. And then if you're at above 70 miles, I think they give you another 6. So, and but I mean, still that's moving.
I mean, that's moving. That's moving. Yeah.
I think I could have got a couple more laps out had I flown up there instead of driven. And driving just takes a lot out of me. Sometimes I'm more tired from the drive than I am from the race itself. So next year I'm definitely flying. You know, it's like, well, you guys remember 3 years ago, I was preaching Ex-Warrior Challenge Black Ops Titan.
Yep.
Same thing, which just happened to be the same flipping night. Otherwise, I would have been in Canada too. Same total amazement. Almost everything you guys described about this event, except for the pick your own part. Same up there, but I noticed how much energy I had for that race because I flew up there and got there a couple days early and just holed up in a hotel room and slept and ate and slept and ate and slept and ate and prepared for it. You know, and stay up all night, watch movies and eat. There was a Denny's in the hotel. So I'd eat 2 or 3 times between 11 p.m. and 8 a.m., stay up those 2 nights. Lots of prep, you know, when you got to drive 12, 13 hours, it doesn't work out that way.
No. And that's one thing where I get lucky. I mean, for me, I love this event because I'm literally an hour away.
Yeah.
So Amber came in. I mean, Amber drops me off on Saturday morning and just shows back up Sunday to pick me up.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and this is the one that drove me nuts too, is when they told us, you know, to go up the trail, but then they said the wheelbarrows. Well, the wheelbarrows were on the drive, not the trail. So I walked all the way up there to find out that I walked right past the wheelbarrows.
Oh, shit.
But then it made me think of it too. I'm like, I have this really nice cart thing that I got that's a Seahawks one, whatever, that I bought specifically for that event to take my stuff. And I was still in the box, never even opened. So when
Yeah.
Amber picked me up, she brought it.
Well,
Yeah.
Michael, who gifted me the team spot, told me, remember, I paid for premium parking. You get to pull your car in there. And I forgot.
Yeah.
Completely spaced it out. And then I heard through the grapevine that, what's her name, Erin, Tony's missus,
Yeah.
had realized that I had that parking, and everybody didn't want to tell me because, you know, it was after the fact, you know, it was the middle of the night when they remembered.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things that, you know, and like I said, we get the RV spot so that, you know, because
Yeah.
with Tristan and Serena, we need to have the RV spot,
Yeah.
you know, but,
And it's nice to come into the camp there and have the chairs and the, you know, if we want to go in and lay down on a bed, we go lay down on a bed. And, you know, it sometimes gets
Yeah.
really hot, so the air conditioning is helpful. Some fans.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned sleeping arrangement. Adam Bergenhauer, I know when he does a Cryptea thing for Hurricane Heat, he sleeps in the back of his 4Runner. And I noticed he had a nice setup. So I asked him, you know, because I just bought a Subaru Outback.
Mhm.
And he told me what mattress, camping mattress he uses for it, made by Nemo. And backcountry.com just happened to have it $100 off. I gotta tell you, that thing was so comfortable. I slept better in that thing in my tent than I do in my own bed here at home. And I got a new bed.
Yeah, I used to have that. One of my exes, we used to hate. I mean, we go camping all the time for parties and stuff like that with friends, and they'd all have tents, and she had a Pathfinder, and we just had fold all the seats down and put a mattress in the back, and that was our tent.
Yeah.
If you got cold, start the car and turn on the heat. I mean, it was one of those things. I mean, it was
That's right.
the perfect, you know, the perfect little tent. Worked out great. Yeah.
All right.
So you all ready for next year? We you know,
Oh yeah.
coming back. I'm
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
doing next year. So
I'm ready for yeah. I mean, first place all the way, right here. Yeah.
yes.
Hey, we got till what, end of next month to sign up with the discount, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell everyone to sign up. I thought it was amazing too. Me and Chris ran into a guy while we were running, and I
Yeah.
had the BeastNet shirt on, and the guy goes, "You're the BeastNet guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Mike. I'm, you know, pretty Mike from BeastNet." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I signed up for this because I listened to the episode of you and Tony." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you and Tony were talking about it. It sounded so cool, and there was a discount code at the end." And I'm like, "I'm in." And I'm
Yeah.
like, right on. So hey, at least the podcast got at least one. So,
One.
one.
Yeah, several, but one.
Yeah, but-
One guy signed up. Yay.
Well, you know, hey, Tony, if you're listening to this, the discount cards that you gave us at the end of the event,
I forgot to
we could get some to some of the running stores around the Puget Sound and Portland region.
That's right.
A lot of those running stores got community billboards and stuff.
That would be amazing. I mean, I'm definitely going to promote. This is one of the ones, like I said, if there's any, any race that I will promote and definitely be at, it's SISU. I love this race.
Definitely.
All right. Well, is there anything else you guys had before we to let the listeners know about this and tell them to get out there?
I like turtles.
You like turtles? Is that what you said? Whoa. Slow and steady wins the
Do
race.
it. Sign up. We want to see you there next year. No excuses.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, I like turtles
That's
too,
it.
because that's how we won this thing. Slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race. It's all in the mind right there. It's all in the mind, and it's all about, friendship, family. It's awesome.
Next year's gonna be great. I need to work on endurance. I've been spending so much time. I do a 5K a day, but that's all I've been doing. So I haven't been doing any mileage. So that's kind of one of my problems. I've been focusing so much on getting ready for triathlons that I haven't even thought about this. So
Yeah.
should be good.
I'll be able to breathe next year. No being sick.
Yes, no being sick.
Yeah, I have to say, the trail system here on the Wasatch Front, Ogden and everything between here and the Spartan venue and stuff comes right to my back parking lot. I don't even have to get in my car to get lost in the mountains, and it's helped tremendously. But living at high elevation now at 5,000 feet, and I got to that venue there, that was great. I mean,
yeah.
was like, it was like I might as well have had a can of oxygen right there. It's just like, wow, I am breathing so good.
Even if you're not a racer or anything, and you just like to go and you want to see part of Washington that this is the race to do, that you are just going to see some very amazing views of, and bears.
Yes, and bears.
and hear the birds yell at you.
Yeah.
So you
And
think that,
I almost didn't go back to my buddy Ryan's house in South Hill that Sunday because the campground right on the other side of the road, just a mile or two down, had plenty of empty spots. I almost pulled in and camped again.
yeah.
So there's always that option to make a extended trip out of it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, there is. It's an amazing place. It's an amazing area.
The
So
people at Camp Shepherd are amazing people.
Yeah.
They just they work there. They do that year round. They do that. Some of it volunteer out there, they volunteer out there just to help the forest.
Yep.
It's a great community. It's a great spot. Yeah. I'm so grateful for Tony for putting this on.
yeah. Tony and Aaron do a great job. I want to look at some of the other ones because I know there's some SISU events down in California. I wouldn't mind trying another one, but I mean, I'm not going to skip Pacific Northwest, but I'm thinking
Never.
Putting one of the other ones onto my calendar. So
Yeah. Aaron and Tony, they definitely even each other out on things. So it makes it a fun race.
They do. They do a great job. So
Yeah.
They work
It
great
would be
together.
nice to see enough attendance that for individual, they could break it into age group divisions too.
it would be. It would be.
Because
Good goal,
I'm gonna be 59 years old real quick here. I'm pushing 60 real quick. What am I gonna do? Run individual against a bunch of people my kids' age? No.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. Hopefully one day it'll get those numbers. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait till next time, and I will see you all soon.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.